I believe everyone's success story is so different. Like there's no cookie cutter way. Laduma's success of getting his brand to market is different to Boys of Soweto's success of getting their brand to market and getting brand collaborations. My story of building an agency is different to Sylvester Chauke's story of building his agency. What is the golden thread between all of us, though, is that none of us gave up. All of us kept knocking on doors. Where one door closed, we knocked on another. Where a person wasn't willing to take this meeting, someone else was. And it was that the cheesy saying, don't give up. That's exactly what it takes, not giving up.
From Kona Juda and Debia, Imran Msindis Wesi, Umvelisen Melis Wesiwe, formerly known as Wazi Madonsel, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture, but also formalize the street hustle.
Okay, let's do it.
Kona Juda and Debia, the final edition. I have 99 problems, but a collective ain't one. Volume 99, episode 99. So many episodes.
Yeah.
To have our final episode for the year. Final guest for the year. Best guest for the year. I don't want to say other things. Saz is watching. But you know what? A stepping stone to a lot of people's success. A lot of people who've been on this platform have said, yo, Sibu gave me a chance. Sibu heard me out. Sibu figured it out for us. We have Sibu Mabena, a cultural expert, a seasoned entertainment practitioner, someone who's fought for everyone's check, someone who's still making sure people are being kept in check, someone who's carrying the game, someone who every day you keep investing in creatives, every day you keep investing in brands, and not only do you do that, but you give a platform to other people to actually shine. So firstly, shout out to you. Secondly, thank you for coming.
I'm sorry. What? Wow.
How are you?
Ooh. Thank you for that reminder. We go through a lot in this game on the daily, so I guess every now and then we just need someone to remind us of what we do. I know the why, but the what we do. And I didn't know until now how exhausted I am, but how blessed I am. Because every day we fight. We fight to stay in the game. Today was one of those days. Friday was one of those days. It's just been a couple of very heavy times. But here we are.
How do you take the heavy times? Because offline we were talking, I was like, yo, after this one, I don't think I'm coming up the bench for a while.
Yeah.
How do you handle it when you've assigned everything for everyone? And then now it's like a curveball. It's changing everything. Something as small as the weather has affected your business.
Yes. Someone in the team said, you're so positive too. It feels like toxic positivity, But I think that's what keeps me alive. Being positive about things, standing on positivity, because in this game, if you try, or if you don't try to see the silver lining, you will perish. It's that hard. It's really difficult to do what we do, and it's difficult because one, people don't want to see us succeed. When it goes against their success or their fears or their projections. Those who do want to see you succeed are really rooting for you and are really trying to put things in place for you to be able to achieve what you're setting out to achieve. And I appreciate those people so much, because sometimes it's hard for them to help us succeed. So I'm conscious of that. And then you have other people who just want to be part of that success, even though it's so hard for them too, but maybe they just have blind faith like you do. And those are the people that I'm doing this for, the ones who have blind faith, who just don't know where this is going to take us, but they believe anyway. And I think that's what keeps me going, that there are people who believe in what I believe in. And I try to stay positive even when things are really, really, really hard. Then there are people like you who remind me of the impact that me chasing my dreams has on other people's ability to chase their dreams. And prayer. I think that's really what keeps me going. I pray and I believe in what God says about me. I really have this weird, unshakable faith that things will work out. But sometimes en route to that thought, en route to that, or tapping into that belief, I experience some tears. I experience the reality of the tough times. So it's not to say I don't go through tough times. I absolutely do. I mean, that's why I can get into a place where you're able to draw tears from my eyes by just saying what you're saying. But I get through it because of the faith I have and the fact that God sees me the way He does.
When I was telling the person we work with here at the office, I was like, yo, I'm shooting with Sibu. It's like, who's the Sibu you keep speaking of? I'm like, yo, Sibu's probably the reason you're doing what you're doing. But you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing right now. Because I feel like there's a stage you reach in your career as an entrepreneur where your impact now has grandchildren.
No.
It's like you impacted Lwazi, whoever Lwazi impacts the next person. But I couldn't explain or know where to start when describing what you do. And then there's a phrase that you said one day in one of these interviews. You were like, you're a leader without a title.
Yes.
But if you had to break it down to whoever's at home right now, like they don't know why we so hyped, why you had to be episode 99, why we had to wrap the year with you.
Sure. What a way to put it, because I think my title changes every day. That's why I say I'm a leader without a title, but I am first and foremost a creative. I'm a creator of solutions, ideas, things that are able to help my clients translate what they need to get out to an intended audience. And I do that through creative tools, communication tools, and my main vehicle is Duma Collective, which is a creative communications agency, but I also have a talent management business called Golden Thread African Agency. So we also do that, where we manage artists. And at Duma Collective, it's traditional PR, so media relations, crisis comms, storytelling, narrative crafting. We do influencer campaigns where we come up with influencer strategies, we onboard influencers, work with them, create with them, amplify things through influencer platforms. Then we do eventing, so we'll come up with event concepts, or we'll market an event, or we'll produce an event, we'll raise sponsorship for events, we manage sponsorships in events, so anything to do with eventing. We do social media management, so we are the community managers behind some of the biggest brands in the country. Actually, even on the continent, we do content creation for social media platforms. We do media buying on social media, so we're well versed in the social media world. And then lastly, multimedia design, where we go from 2D right through to animation and everything in between. That's on the Duma Collective side. Then at Golden Thread African Agency, we manage brands, personal brands. So we've got music talent, we've got acting talent. And in that world, we're quite niche, we're quite boutique about it. I only have 7 days in a week. So far, we've got 6 talents, and I'm sticking to that. Because in this country, we have so many talented people, not enough managers. And for all my sins, I keep getting drawn back to the talent management thing. I do it with a really cool team of people. At Duma Collective, I have a really cool team of people. And I think because at the core of me is service to the industry, service to other creatives, service to corporate, service to government departments. It's just to be of service with what I'm able to do and what I've been able to convince other people who are great at what they do to come do with me. That is possibly why you would want to tell the next person about me. I won't cry this time. Let's have another version of this conversation, then you'll decide which one you like best. Ask the hard questions. Go.
How do you deal with people leaving the company? Because agencies have a reputation of... Yeah.
Okay. That's a very interesting one. Because I've had so many different experiences of people leaving the business. But the most profound thing a mentor told me was entrepreneurship is like a bus. There are people who hop on at a stop, and there are people who jump off at a stop. But does the bus stop moving? So taking that into consideration, it's always been to rationalize people's departures as part of their journey and the vehicle that is Duma Collective assisting them along the journey. The first resignation I experienced was my day one. There were departures that I was actively involved in to say, okay, let's place you here. Oh, let's transition you out of the business into this space. Oh, you want to go into advertising? Let's see how we can help you. But the one resignation that actually crippled me was someone leaving to go out and freelance, but freelance as a permilancer in another agency. But because I didn't realize how much of a crutch that person was in the business, it broke me. It almost felt like she was leaving me, the individual. And it activated a process of me going into therapy because I realized there are things I need to deal with that come from my upbringing that are affecting my ability to make sense of real life situations today. Yeah?
In those situations, do you think you had bad leadership or it was premature leadership?
It was premature. I was, 25, 26 or something like that. And there was also just a lot happening in my environment, in my situation. I think I wasn't ready for that departure of that particular person. Fast forward now, we have we didn't fight. I gifted her the laptop and said, okay, I understand the journey you're about to commence. So it really wasn't a bad thing. It was just something that triggered a experience I hadn't dealt with and didn't know I had to deal with, right? So that's resignation number one. And then over time, different people leaving and then going into different spaces, you, again, rationalize it against it being part of their journey and being part of our journey as a business.
Quick one, though. You spoke of therapy. I've always wondered, it's just a me question. Does therapy not become a crutch on its own? Because now there's an outlet to always go there, as opposed to be like, okay, cool, but after this step, I have now learned to live without that. Whereas I feel like therapy becomes like a toxic, I don't know, I've never been to therapy. This is just my outlook and me trying to understand how does that actually work in the psyche of someone who's running a business, where now there's an outlet to say, you know what, Lozi didn't deliver on time. I'm tired of Lozi. Then the therapist's like, no, Lozi's a person too.
But that's exactly the conversation. For me, what therapy helped me with was to provide perspective. Because sometimes your proximity to a situation doesn't allow you to consider the different inputs into you arriving at that situation, right? So sometimes it could be that people leave the business because you're a bad leader. And you have to take accountability for that. What makes you a bad leader? How am I projecting my expectations on people? How am I reacting to people's behaviors without being... how am I reacting to people's behaviors?
But what's accountability if it's only enforced in another batch of people?
It's not enforced as much as it is
applied. So
provoked. I think the thought process needs provocation sometimes, because when you don't have someone helping you navigate your thought process in a constructive way, you end up going down the toxic path of, oh, people aren't appreciative. People don't care for what I've done for them. Oh, I've been so kind to people. Why would they leave me?
Thing to feel?
I don't believe it's productive in the environment that we function in. As leaders, we have the unfortunate responsibility of having to be empathetic, having an extraordinary amount of emotional intelligence. PH spoke about Ubuntu, having that in the right amount also, having enough wisdom at whatever young age you're at to be able to make sense of certain things that happen, because so much can happen with God's children. In your business, people can fight each other. In your business, people can encounter really bad and traumatic experiences. In your business, people can lie, people can steal, people can destroy, people can sabotage, but equally, people are pouring their hearts into things. Their mental health takes a strain because of the pressures that come from the environment we function in. So if you're not going to have the presence of mind as a leader to be able to absorb this information, process it, and then do something about it in a way that is constructive and conducive to the lives of the people that you're responsible for and their careers, then you have no business being a leader in the first place.
But how do you mitigate where I'm like, yo, Sibu, love this company, love growing with this company. Can we change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because usually for most people is that there comes a situation where I realize it even myself, where when you work under someone, because you're so, embroiled or whatever the word is, in their life and the way they do business, you start thinking you that person to a certain degree. It's not like when I look in the mirror, I see Sibu, but I'm like, yo, if Sibu was charging $500,000 and I was the one facilitating $500,000, surely my salary should also increase. How do you also then stay a leader and say, yo, this company only does 5% at the end of the year. This company only does 15% at the end of the year. Yes, you did a great job, but here's the bonus. How do you balance that?
Honesty.
Because
nothing beats honesty. And
I don't know.
There's a difference between honesty and transparency. Okay? You manage what information is going to be productive or result in a conducive conversation or an outcome, right? So when someone says, I'm sure they've had a thought.
Yeah.
I think we should do things this way because I've observed that we are currently doing things this way and it's not working. If you're not the type of leader who is collaborative or who has the desire to listen to their team, then you'll just dismiss that and say, no, I'm not crazy for asking us to do things this way. This is how I want them done, and that's the end of the story. One type of leadership style. Another one, mine, to be collaborative and to say, okay, your observations, what are they based on? What did you see? What do you think we could do better? Okay, fine. Have you considered A and B and C? Have you seen that currently this is what's happening in the business? Do you still think that this is the right way for us to go? And by providing that perspective, it's not to say you want them to be convinced of your way of doing things, but you're bringing them on the journey to how you arrived at that decision. And as a leader, you've also got to be able to make it make sense to the people who must buy into the vision. The people shall perish for there is a lack of vision, right? And if you don't clearly articulate where we are going, then people are going to find their own routes to get there. And that's when there's confusion or there's disagreement or there's just misunderstanding. And you can't be surprised when people don't know what we're doing. And I find that if you don't bring people along the journey of how you arrived at a decision, you must just expect people to want to do things their own way. And with us at Duma Collective, ours is to agree when we join the business, Do you agree to building an oasis for African creativity to flourish? Part 1. If the answer is yes, this is what it takes to build an oasis for African creativity to flourish. Hard work. It takes curiosity. It takes being obsessed with improvement. It takes collaboration. It takes teamwork. And if people understand that, then any decision that we make as a business, they have a better processing or process of making sense of the why we do things we do, or the why we do things the way we do them.
You do things as a business, but realistically, when a business is ran, the business runs with an objective. And sometimes the business's objective is to cut costs. Have you been in a crossroad where you've realized that that decision was carrying weight on the business? Sometimes that decision becomes people, sometimes that decision becomes an investment. And how have you dealt with that? Because it's kind of hard to reconcile with the idea that, I called you and hired you, but I'm realizing you're not adding the effectiveness that I needed.
It's, on a labor front, we have this beautiful thing called labor law. So you can't just swell a person, hire them, put them into a position, get them comfortable in that position, and then be like, oh shit, changed my mind. I see the numbers are not working out, so you gotta go. You've got to follow the process and bring the people on the journey to say, okay, here's what we set out to do, but here's where we are now. By your observation, do you believe that we are doing that which we set out to do? Are you achieving your KPIs based on the agreement that we have, our contract that we have? And if the answer is yes, let's continue. But I must be honest with you, I'm not seeing the results. So I'm going to give you another chance to show up the way we need you to. If the answer is no, then the agreement is to split ways, because a person who has sense and logic, which is what we generally do, is appeal to a person's sense of logic, is to say, but mate, you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Like, that's the conversations we have. We do proper performance management to say, there's an inconsistency we are picking up in your delivery of work. And we have a thorough process of following that. Monthly reviews. Today we were doing one where before I came here, I was in a performance management meeting with a really brilliant person. And there's an inconsistency in his delivery of that brilliance. And our job is to make him aware of that there are blind spots that you need to deal with. And if you don't deal with them within the period of time set out according to the law, we can only extend so much grace beyond that. But after that, I cannot sacrifice the mental sanity of your teammates against you deciding that you don't want to show up the way we need you to show up. So it's having those honest conversations with your teammates, because at the end of the day, we're not doing each other favors. We have agreed to go on this journey to build this oasis for African creativity to flourish. And I'm going to compensate you as best as I possibly can with the opportunities that we have at our disposal. But if we lose out on those opportunities because you didn't hold up your end of the bargain, then something must be done. With other decisions that have been made, we've decided to invest in a talent management unit at Duma Collective at the time. And we had to make the tough decision to close it down. But you don't do it inconsiderate of the effects that it has on people. So before we closed it, said, cool, this is the talent we have. Who can manage this one? Who can manage that one? Okay, what infrastructure can we build around this one to manage themselves? And then after that process was done, only then did we go to market with the announcement to say, we no longer manage talent. So we work with people at the end of the day, guys. We make decisions that affect people's lives, but everybody needs to be accountable to the decision or the social contract that we have between each other about, here's what I'm going to do, here's what you're going to do for us to achieve this thing we're setting out to achieve together.
How do you deal with the biggest of brands? Because someone's like, get LinkedIn. That's always the answer. That's been the answer, I think, for good 40 volumes. But the reality is that my DM on LinkedIn means nothing.
Yeah.
They'll send a DM, they'll reply, hey, send your email her, then they never reply. And then at some stage you become a pester. And then someone will say, put yourself at the event. Be there, Sibu's going to be there. And then you'll talk to Sibu there. But then that also requires Sibu's willingness to hear you there. And even if they're listening, it doesn't mean they're comprehending what you're trying to sell. How do I put myself in the best position to get clients? I have this product, I've cooked this product, I've done tastings of this product. People know that this is a good product. How do I get this product to market?
I don't have a textbook answer. I believe everyone's success story is so different. Like there's no cookie cutter way. Laduma's success of getting his brand to market is different to Boys of Soweto's success of getting their brand to market and getting brand collaborations. My story of building an agency is different to Sylvester Chauke's story of building his agency. What is the golden thread between all of us, though, is that none of us gave up. All of us kept knocking on doors. Where one door closed, we knocked on another. Where a person wasn't willing to take this meeting, someone else was. And it was that the cheesy saying, don't give up. That's exactly what it takes, not giving up. I'm on episode 99 because I could have been on episode 36 had the timing allowed when you first asked me. But for whatever reason, only now is it working out that the time allows. In fact, we were supposed to shoot the other day, but I wasn't in the right space because we're going through a massive transition as a business. But today I'm able to talk about it because I processed it. There's something that happened when you didn't give up that allowed for the timing to be right for this thing to happen today at this time. So any person with a product, because there are a bajillion products out there, the thing that's going to separate person A from person B is that person A didn't give up. We can say LinkedIn, we can say go to the event, I have so many different stories of how people ended up working at Duma Collective. I have so many different stories of how people ended up being suppliers for Duma Collective. I have so many different stories for how we ended up as suppliers to different clients that we have. I have so many stories of how I ended up working for Masters of Rhythm. I bought a ticket to be at Masters of Rhythm and got there at 6 a.m. in the morning and waited for the production team to get there, Jay Kayembe, Simba, Oli. And through that, I ended up working in brand marketing and having Jay Kayembe as a sponsor in the marketing world or in the brand world, in the street world. And all of that journey, I then became a bartender at the Sands. I built a network there. But is it to say, Lwazi must go buy a ticket to the Chris Brown concert so he can work for big concerts? Maybe that's going to work for you. But you won't know if you don't try. You won't know. So does LinkedIn work? It worked for some, and that's why they're using it as a testimonial. But will it work for everyone? I don't think so.
Here's another part. I get the chance. The LinkedIn works out. I meet the J. Kayembes of the world. They sponsor me. What's the mentality that carried you specifically in those moments? Because there's a thing about like being in the right room. There's a thing about like just being close enough to power that makes you feel like you can achieve power, but also at the same time it starts feeling like, damn, when am I getting my power? You know?
Again, humility is the mentality. You're there to serve a purpose, right? They brought you into this room because you must be useful. Be useful so that the use that you have, the utility of your service, of your presence, of your ability is such that they need to use you again the next time, and then again the next time. There were times where people who worked in brands don't know why they need me in the room, but they need me in the room. Because there's something I'm going to say that's going to unlock a big idea. Or there's an insight I'm going to contribute to the conversation that's going to fix something that could have gone wrong. Because every single time I came into a room, I offered utility, When someone is paying for something, they want to extract maximum utility from it. And if everyone sets out to say, I have a seat at this table, I'm going to use this opportunity to be as useful as possible, I think more often than not, people are going to bring you back into the room, because who doesn't want useful people working on their project in order to achieve success? And if you build a reputation of being reliable in your ability to deliver, then it becomes difficult for people to work without you. So that's the mentality that you go into an opportunity with. When a DJ has an opportunity to play for a crowd, they know that the next time or the next booking is going to come from somebody in here, whether it's through endorsement on social media, where someone will recommend me or pester power a promoter to say, hey, yo, book this person. Why is this person not on the lineup? Or it's from a promoter in the audience seeing that DJ, or it's from the next DJ seeing you play before them and be like, damn, that he could be good or she could be good on the lineup I'm going to be on next week. You never know who's watching, and the people who are watching better see something good about you. I think that's the best attitude to walk into a job with, is to say, I'm going to put my best foot forward all the time.
You step on their necks all the time.
All the time, until it's my turn to influence other people, then having to come in and put their best foot forward as well.
What happens when you put your best foot forward? You give us the best version of Sibu Mabena. We still pay you for that, but we don't want you as a chief strategist at this point. We just wanted you to a supplier. What happens when people are not allowing you to grow the way you saw yourself grow?
I've had instances like that where I'm brought in as, or Juma Collective is brought in as an agency to come help with whatever, but the big guns are now like, why are you here? What do you have to say? And anything you say just makes their job harder, or challenges them to think a little bit differently, or it just, now they've got to spend more hours than their retainer allows for, and they know they're not going to get that money from the client, and now it's going to be seen as value add, but because this person that was brought in by the client is the one saying it, we're going to have to do it so we don't look like clowns. Mine has been to accept that sometimes that's my role. Sometimes my role is to challenge something that exists in order to make it better. Sometimes my role is not to be the best one in the room. Sometimes my role is to just offer a good idea and let someone else bring it to life. So it's not that every opportunity will present itself the way you know it to look, but some opportunities come by you just being in the room. That's the role you play. And you'll maybe realize that opportunity 2 or 3 years later, because you were in that room on that other day, and this person reminds you or remembers you for saying that one profound thing that is not what you usually do. I have a client, Marcel Swain, one of the greatest leaders I've ever worked with. He's at Heineken, and he loves to say a good idea can come from anyone in the room. It can come from an influencer marketing idea, can come from the media buying agency. A radio ad can come from the influencer marketing agency. But if it's a good idea, it doesn't matter who it came from in the room. So long as we can all buy into it, it's driven by a good insight, it's backed by great creative, we will make it work.
There's something interesting now that you bring up Marcel. I once said, yo, I have this idea, I want to work with Heineken, da da da. And this guy was like, yeah, here's Marcel's email. What's the true reality of having people's emails? Because people will be like, yo, nah, email us. It's like, what at your level do you think is effective with having someone's email? What can a kid, a creative, a young entrepreneur, a small business owner who has your email now?
I think it depends on the person who you're mailing and their work personality. Some people are really, really great at admin and getting through their emails and being able to pass on ideas. Marcel's one such person. We work with so many people today because that guy is always forwarding something. Like, this landed on my inbox, he'll forward to the team, and then someone must do something about it if he thinks it's a good idea, if he thinks it's going to fit into the world, because that's his job. His job is to conduct and orchestrate the activities that surround the brand. And he's really good at making sure that the right people are touching the right work for the right result, right? So that's his brand of work. Where the next person doesn't actually read emails, they've got 2,000 unread emails, and if something's not popping out at them as urgent, then they don't even focus on it. But they're still effective at their job, come what may. I'm the type of person who doesn't like to leave the office having unread emails. And mine is to evaluate, where does this fit into my world? Are we able to do it? Do we have time? Is there space for this? Who is this person that's emailing us? Is this going to add to the database? Maybe let me just forward to the team for the sake of having access to that information that this person or this entity exists. Sometimes there is something we can do about it, where I'll forward it to the universe and say, hi guys, anyone interested in this, please see below, and hope for something good to come out of that. Sometimes I can actively assist in what a person is asking for. Sometimes it's just for me to give feedback. Say, hi, great idea, but maybe think of this XYZ. But that's my brand of communication. So I can't say having someone's email address is enough for you to activate your idea or that sponsorship you're asking for or whatever it is. Sometimes it just boils down to your luck, based on the type of person your email is reaching at that time.
What's your word to the youth?
Nobody is coming to save us. There's nothing beats hard work, okay? And the saying is, hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. You can be up against the most talented individual, but if they don't recognize the opportunity, if they don't do what it takes to activate the opportunity, you will get ahead of them faster simply because you worked hard at it. So if we could recognize as young people the opportunity we have to work hard and actually reap the benefits of that hard work, I think we would see a lot more people start to live happier lives because they've taken advantage of this space we're in, this time that we're in, this environment that allows us to really activate our dreams. I wouldn't be who I am today if I wasn't living in a democratically free South Africa, where I'm able to wake up in the morning, have an idea, go to some people, talk to them about it, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're young or old, and if they believe in it, boom, Bob's your uncle, now we're working. So it's our time to take advantage of the space we're in as a country, to work hard, to enjoy the freedoms that we have, and to protect them.
Entrepreneurship, 99 volumes later, episode 99, Sibu Mabena, all the way from Duma Collective. Born in 1991,
that is me.
A 90s baby, a game changer. Damn! Yeah, shout out. Thank you.
Thank you.